Who are you?
My name is Bond.
I am Groot!
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya.
I am Steve Rogers.
Spartans!
Damn it, what do you want?
Wanna play psycho killer?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
E.T. Home phone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Phil Better Show. I am, of course, your host with the most, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the podcast mogul, Phil Better. With me, as always, is the man who I love, Aaron Talks Films. Aaron, how are you doing today?
I'm really good. I've missed you so much, Phil. It has been too long. Like, we keep in touch, but it's nice to actually see your face and hear your sexy voice.
Oh, you're making me blush.
And that new intro, man, just a round of applause. That new intro.
Thank you. A new intro we're trying here. If you're listening to the show on the podcast, it's completely different than the 30-second countdown that I've been making you listen to for the last few weeks. And I apologize for that. Laziness. I don't know. I just created that. Probably going to be changing it up, putting some new stuff in. We do have some plans for future ads on. But before we begin, Aaron, you have some news regarding someone who appeared in the intro. I'm not going to say who. Do you even remember what you were supposed to talk about, or you completely forgot?
Yeah,
it's 10 o'clock at night for Aaron, ladies and gentlemen. So he is tired. He is a home dad.
Yes, I've been up since roughly 6 a.m. I'm going to be up at roughly 6 a.m. again tomorrow. But no, I'm totally with it, Phil. His name is Mr. Bond.
Mr. James Bond. Mr. Blonde. Yeah. Blonde. I'm over here saying Mr. Blonde. So
yeah, it's not Pulp Fiction.
It's not, no. You mean Reservoir Dogs?
Same thing. Same movie.
Same movie.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Mr. Bond? Daniel Craig, finished.
Yeah,
so
Daniel Craig's out. He's finally got his wish. He's finally left the franchise. Yeah, he spent many years complaining about that. Harry didn't want to do it anymore and he wanted out of his contract. And then I don't know if you saw the video on his last day on set where he's just telling everyone how great it was to work with them all. And that's beside the point.
Well, here's the thing. I think he didn't enjoy the character because of the restrictions that the Broccolini family placed on him, or whatever the name of the company or people who own the rights to it. But he does enjoy making movies.
Yeah. I that video was basically him saying, look, he even said it. He said, look, I've said a lot of shit over the years, but working with you has been fun, which is fair enough. It's like you say, it's just the actual the character, and making the movies must be really difficult because they're action movies, but there's so much more to them than just action. And I can imagine it took a big strain on him. So it's understandable that he was upset and didn't want to do it anymore, but you sign a contract, you can't just get out. But yeah, he did say, look, I said those things, but when it comes to the cast and crew, I appreciate all of you. And it was a really touching video. Like it made me tear up a little bit. But yeah, he's fine. He's out. No Time to Die. I've not seen it yet. I don't know what happens in that movie. I really want to see it, but I can't go to the cinema yet because it's still too scary.
Yeah, no, I fully get you. Yeah. I actually went to see Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I went to it. Went to a really early showing. I had the day off because we had a holiday here in Canada, so I had the opportunity. No one was there. I went to one of the first showings, so there was maybe 10 people in the whole cinema, and you had to pick your seat because it was we have IMAX. I don't know if you guys have IMAX. So yeah, we have IMAX. Wait, was it IMAX? No, it's AVX. Sorry, AVX. Another thing. So many AVX, IMAX, and this Max, and DVS, and DOS, and BOSS, and all these different things here. But it was AVX, so you had to choose your seats, and the minute you chose the two seats, unless you chose two seats, but the seat beside you were blocked off. No one could sit there.
Right. I'm not sure if that's how it works with us. I wanted to go on Sunday. The Sunday just gone because it was the only day I had free. And every showing that I looked at, virtually every seat was booked up apart from a few. and I just thought that's too much. I can't do it. So
It's
I'm
too
just
much of a
gonna
risk.
I'm just gonna wait for it to come on streaming.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, either way, Daniel Craig is out, so they I can't remember who said it, but one of the producers has said that next year they're going to start looking for the new Bond. They're going to start the casting process.
They've already started. They already have a list.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a list, but when it, in the next few months, anything could happen. They might have their top 10, and they might even secretly approach them, and they say, "Don't want to, we don't want to do it." So they'll have to look at their next 10. So I think at the moment it's just putting out feelers, and then next year they're really going to ramp up the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the number one pick at the moment, well, everyone seems to be looking at Henry Cavill because he turned around and said he'd do it in a heartbeat. But
I don't know. Like Henry Cavill is an amazing actor. Like, don't get me wrong, love him as Superman, love him in most of the movies he's in.
Yeah.
I don't see him as James Bond because he's too big. Like, he has that Superman bulk, and for me, that is more of an action star than the spy star that would be James Bond. Like, for me, James Bond looks like a regular businessman, quote unquote.
Yeah,
but is very fit, and he fits a certain build. He's not too wide. He doesn't just look like the Henry Cavill.
Yeah, you want someone that can kind of blend into a crowd.
Yeah,
which is why my pick is The Rock. No,
of course, yes, The Rock, perfectly.
Yeah.
God, why didn't I think of that?
You wouldn't see him in a crowd, but yeah, like I don't know a lot about James Bond. The only movies I've seen are the Daniel Craig versions, but I know enough to know that he's a spy. He has to blend in. Even though he goes around telling everyone his fucking name because he's an idiot, but he's supposed to blend in. So yeah, Henry Cavill, great actor, but also the fact that he's in the Mission Impossible franchise. Yeah. No, he died, but he was in one. Whether that goes against him or not, I don't know. But
I don't think so.
Yeah, I can't see him. He'd be a great choice, like we said, but yeah, I can't see him being the number one choice.
So from what the little I know, and this especially from the trailer that was released before the pandemic, where they kind of show that there is a new 007 that I can't remember her name. And it's an actress.
No, it's gone. I know who you mean. Yeah.
She's an actress. She's a beautiful actress. She's smart. She's amazing. I just can't remember her full name, and I apologize. And of course, I'm going to get reamed out because of it. Or someone's listening to it. It's this person's name. Why don't you know it? But yeah, she has the moniker as 007. So now we know that it's just a title. Like, it's no longer specific to James Bond. It's just the title given to that agent. They're Agent 7 in essence.
Yeah, but again, when it comes to recasting Bond and moving forward, they're essentially going to reboot it.
Are they? Because we don't know how this movie ends.
Do you know what I mean? Without seeing No Time to Die, I don't know. But with Daniel Craig, essentially, it was a reboot. A soft reboot because there were some characters coming over from the Brosnan era.
Yeah, Brosnan. Yeah, specifically M was the biggest one that was coming over from
Judi Dench.
Dame Judi Dench came over. She was the main one that kind of connected the Brosnan to the Craig universe.
Yeah, but essentially the Craig universe was a reboot because it kind of starts telling you his story from the beginning. Not so much the very beginning, but as you go through that story, you're learning about how he came to be James Bond and the things that he went through. Harry, spoiler alert, ended up being brothers with one of the most influential villains in cinema history.
Brothers, really.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it was a kind of soft reboot. So if they might need to do that again, because if they're not going to turn around and say, like you say, the 007 is a title handed down, the same as the name. There was all those theories that James Bond is just a name given to 007. Obviously, with all of the backstory with Daniel Craig's version, they can't do that.
Well, here's my theory. I fully agree with, like, I don't want to cut you off, and I apologize.
No,
I'm a horrible Canadian for cutting you off. But this is how I look at it. I think this movie will probably rewrite the future James Bond franchise
Yeah.
because they understand that it's better to have a shared universe than just like keep rebooting it after 5 movies, because people are going to get annoyed with that. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, I've already seen this story. We already know how James Bond is get this. We already seen this. So instead, what they could do is at the end of this, if they're smart, they kill James Bond, quote unquote, they kill Daniel Craig. And in honor of him, like in honor of all the stuff he's done, they do the 007 coincides with the James Bond. You now take on the persona of James Bond. So now you have this living legend, if you will, that goes back a decade at least, quote unquote, in this fictional universe, and you can put someone else in. So the James Bond 007 is just the title of the agent, so you can protect who you really are. This allows you to go into depth about who is more. You learn more about the person playing James Bond. Like like the next person comes in, his name is Todd Smith, let's say. Yeah. Or Todd Smith, you are no longer known as Todd Smith. Todd Smith dies, so they can take an active
wipe him from existence, like Will Smith in Men in Black.
There you go. Like, or he dies, like they just die, and then he steps into the persona of this James Bond character that's created by MI6.
Which is why he keeps telling everyone his name, because he has to keep reminding himself.
Name's Bond, James Bond, and it's not Todd Smith.
Yeah, James. Who's Todd Smith?
Yeah, I don't know who Todd Smith is. You look like Todd Smith. I've never met Todd Smith. My name is Bond. James Bond. 007. Just pulls out the Walter PP7, shoots the guy. But no, because this opens it up that you can have ethnically diverse James Bond.
Yeah.
You can have, Idris Elba play James Bond. You can go into India and get some amazing Indian actors, because there are thousands and thousands of possibilities now when you just remove the fact that James Bond is supposed to be a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, dark-haired person. When you take away that and you just say it can be anybody, now you have this chance that you can have James Bonds across the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can make more people fall in love with the James Bond, because now I can see myself as James Bond. Because as a white person, I can see myself as James Bond, but someone from Africa can be like, I don't see myself as James Bond. But then you have Idris Elba, you go, I can be James Bond.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to go. Either that, or just do the roadie effect. Just cast a different actor and just point it out in the movie. Like with Iron Man 2, it was a different actor playing Rhodey. Iron Man just sort of looks at him like, are you okay? And he's like, yep, it's me, just deal with it. And then they move on. They don't say it again. Just do the same with James Bond. Idris Elba walks in and say, you look so
haircut?
Different. Yeah. No,
like,
right, it's me. It's me. James Bond. Definitely. He's got his name written on his hand. Bond. James Bond. Yes, it's me. Move on.
Name tag and everything.
Yep. Move on. Say no more. That's it. One of the two options that they could use if they want to carry on with this universe. Like you say, it'd be pretty stupid to kind of restart again, and then
I just want to see a continuation. Like, yes, so Craig is probably in my top 3 of James Bond.
Yeah.
Sean Connery will always be number 1 for me because he's the first Bond, and I love Sean Connery. So
I don't. But
you don't know anything about James Bond. It's fine. This is my part.
I'm just saying I don't like Sean Connery. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Yes, I know he isn't the greatest person in the world, but he's a fine
or actor. But we won't.
He is an amazing actor. You take that back, you blood Brit. You just don't like him because he's Scottish.
I don't like him because he's Scottish in his movies when he's supposed to be Russian or Spanish.
But that's the amazing acting ability of Sean Connery.
Yes, I believe it so much that he was Russian.
But yeah, you have Sean Connery. You have Pierce Brosnan. For me, was the suavest, if anything, was the suavest, but more gadget-heavy James Bond. And then you have Daniel Craig, who is bringing it back to what I felt was the masculine, quote-unquote, that Sean Connery had in the movies. Because Sean Connery just had this masculine presence in the movie. The movies, like he was just, this is Sean, like this is man, boom, like very like that. And Daniel Pierce Brosnan had the smoothest James Bond, like he was so smooth, like silk. But then you get Daniel Craig, has that presence of masculinity, because like he is like him coming out of that water scene in those shorts. I'm sorry.
It nearly turned me. I'm not gonna lie.
I was like, "Woo, hello, girl." But he's also smooth, as you see how he acts and how he can be rough and tumble, but he also has this sensitive side that like Pierce Brosnan kind of had. Yeah. So that's why I like Daniel Craig as a James Bond. So I would love to see someone like Idris Elba. I know he has that presence because he's done the action movies. He has that masculine presence, but also you've seen him be smooth and charismatic in other movies. So he has that perfect suave level. And obviously, if you can't tell by listening or even watching, I want Idris Elba as James Bond.
I would love that. I just think he's too old. Because for a movie, he's not too old. But you're not just looking at one movie. When you sign an actor to play James Bond, you're looking at the next 10 years of their life, and it's the same with Tom Holland. You know, with Spider-Man, they signed him. And he was about 18, but he looked about 12. So you've got that guy for like 20 years, easy. But with Idris Elba, he is old. Like, he could still pull it off now, but in 10 years, can he? You know, it's...
Hold on, how old is Elba? Let's see here.
He's got to be in his 50s, at least. So I think as much as I'd love to see Elba as James Bond, they're going to have
He's 49. So he's 49 years old.
Yeah, and he's not even signed on yet. So when if and when they do, he'll be 50, and then you know they'll only have him for 10 years at the most. So you're going to need, in my opinion, someone early to mid 30s, at least.
But Daniel Craig is, where is his age? I hate when they don't. He was born in 68. Math it. I'm bad at math. Hold on.
68.
He's 53.
53. Yeah, but he's 53 now. So
and he signed on, I think it was in 2008.
2008, yeah.
So hold on.
So he's mid to late 30s.
He was 40 when he signed on.
Couldn't have been if he's 40.
He's 53. It's been 13 years.
Has he really only been 13 years?
2008 to 2021.
His time means nothing right now, does it? But yeah, either way,
since Corona, time has disappeared. The time has lost all meaning, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I can't even remember my age. But yeah, I just believe you need someone.
I think he can do it. Look, he's in great shape. He's not like most 50-year-olds. Look, if Tom Cruise can be still doing the action movies that he's doing now, then definitely Idris Elba has the ability to pull off this movie. Like, they don't need to be hugely action. These movies aren't normally hugely action packed.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I saw Suicide Squad, and he was incredible in that. Idris Elba, brilliant. But I just feel like they need someone younger and maybe less known.
Holland.
Why not? He's in everything else, so. And he'd be a good James Bond.
Oh, he would be a hilarious. They need to make a spy movie with him. Like, I know they made that movie with Spies or Us or whatever with Will Smith and him, where with the pigeon. I would love to see Tom Holland in a comedy, like a Mr. Bean, Johnny English style. Rowan Atkinson, Johnny English style. Spy movie. I think you take him, you take a couple other comedic actors, and you put them into this like heavily action like spy movie, and you just have them trying to act kind of like when Eddie Murphy did the spy movies early 2000s, late 1990s with Morgan Freeman, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Was it with Morgan Freeman?
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're right there.
With Owen Wilson too. There was the Owen Wilson movie. Anyways,
it was like Spy Hard or something like that. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I know people are yelling at us, and I can tell you right now, my buddy Smooch is probably yelling at me even more. My good Irish friend Smooch. Shout out to you, the Easy Pickings crew. I wonder if if he listens to this and mentions it. I mention it in the group chat, Smooch. Okay, I want you to mention this specific moment. But anyways, we're going on to the movie that we're supposed to review. We're 20 minutes in.
We didn't even cast him yet, and that was the whole point of that chat.
Well, no, I said Idris Elba. Who are you casting as James Bond?
Tilda Swinton. Let's move on.
Moving on. So we're reviewing the movie Scream. It is Wes Craven's Scream, reinvented the horror genre for the new millennials, for pretty much millennials. If it wasn't for this movie, we wouldn't have the great series of horror movies that we've been getting, because they reinvented, it revigorated, because it turned it on its head. It took so if you guys don't know, it starts off with Drew Barrymore, a huge name in the entertainment industry.
Yes,
like
that
when she
shocked everyone.
Yes, the first 10 minutes shocked everyone, and it changed the game of movies, because now movies had the right to kill off these high-paying actors early in the movies.
Yeah, and no, it just showed that in that movie, no one was safe. You know, you could not call it. Like, it was a whodunit, and it was done so masterfully well. Like, spoiler alert, Phil didn't say Drew Barrymore dies in the first 10 minutes. But like you say, when she was cast in that movie, she was the biggest name. Yeah. Everyone else had been in stuff.
You had Courtney Cox, who was coming off, Friends. So she had some of that Friends thing. And so everybody's like, oh, she's safe. And then you had
David Arquette was up and rising. You know, he was doing really well. Neve
Campbell. She was coming off Party of Five.
Yeah, so she was like the hot ticket at the time. Yeah. But again, they weren't big like Hollywood names.
No, you didn't. You had Matthew Lillard, who was still starting. He was stumbling around different comedic. Oh yeah, don't get me. Matthew Lillard. You know what? He is
James Bond.
No, he can't be James Bond. He's too old.
What?
If you can't have Idris Elba as James Bond, you can't have Matthew Lillard. But Matthew Lillard, you know what? He will be him. We need to find an idol for this show, an actor that we go, this is our, guiding light.
My always go to is Tom Hardy. I adore the man, and I've not made any secret that I
think we need to go someone classic though. We'll discuss this off series. This is not for. If you guys think we should have a mascot, a celebrity mascot,
as long as it's not Sean Connery, I don't.
Living, we'll go with living, because Sean Connery passed away. God rest his soul. A living celebrity. A living actor or actress, we'll take either one, that you guys think we should have as our, primo. They're our celebrity mascot. They're our celebrity god. Like whenever we cast them,
they can do no wrong.
They can do no wrong, pretty much. Even if they've done wrong, they can still do no wrong. Kind of like Bill Murray is for the Chive. We need one here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want your help. So just send us an email. feelbettershow@gmail.com. Send us an email there, letting us know what you guys think. And if you're watching this, leave it in the comments. Say this is the actor you guys should do, and we will do it. And there's also a submit form, I think, in the show notes where you guys can submit a movie and be a guest on the show. But anyways, going back to Scream, first 10 minutes, we lose the biggest name, Drew Barrymore, to the killer, to what Ghostface, the Ghostface.
Yeah. I think they originally called him something else, but it kind of took on its own persona, because this is such a cult. It was a commercial success, but it's also such a cult classic that has just attached itself to everything. And that scene at the beginning, like the first 10 minutes, it's so tense, and it's so insane, because again, Drew Barrymore was this big name, and you're kind of watching it and you're thinking, right, this is a setup for the movie. She's going to be our star. Mm-hmm. And then the whole scene where she's being terrorized on the phone, what's your favorite scary movie? Iconic.
And then seeing her boyfriend get killed.
Yeah, within seconds as well.
Like they were holding nothing back. Like nowadays, this movie probably doesn't have the same effect that it did when we were younger, and even to the younger audience watching it now, because the tropes that were used in this movie are used countless times. And of course, Scary Movie made fun of majority of the tropes in this movie.
But a lot of the tropes that they use had been used before, but not to this effect. They kind of, like you say, they flipped it, and they went down a different path with it. I mean, still on that beginning scene at the end of it, when she is discovered to have been murdered, and the quick zoom into the body hanging from the tree. It's sick. It's so unbelievable that they that they show. I mean, originally they wanted to show it properly. That shot was sped up for a reason, so they got a different rating. But yeah, like you see that and you go, that's where this movie is going. That's what's going to happen. No one is safe, and we've already got this iconic killer, you know, in the ghost mask with the all black
and voice.
Oh, that voice as well. That I adore that voice. You know, you could actually buy those voice boxes. Like, that's how popular this became.
It's an insane, like, that first set the tone for the movie, and then you go through the whole thing not knowing who, and they don't give you clues to who the killer is at all.
Yeah, they do, but they give you the clues and then go, no, not really. You know, when we see Stu climbing in through the window, this is Neve Campbell's boyfriend. Just after she gets attacked in her own house by a Ghostface killer, he appears seconds later, climbs through the window, and he drops a mobile phone. Like we say, the killer likes to make phone calls, and a pair of gloves, I believe. And all of a sudden, you know, the everything is pointed to him being the killer because he got there so fast. He's got a mobile phone, which was very
By the way,
rare.
his name is Billy, and it's Skeet
Billy.
Ulrich.
Yeah, why did I say Stu? Oh, that's Stu.
Stewart is Matthew Lillard's character.
That's why I had it in my head, Stu. But yeah, so all the evidence was pointing at him. And then we find out that while he's in prison, Sidney Prescott gets a phone call from the killer.
Mm-hmm.
So it couldn't have been Billy.
Yeah.
And then obviously that sets up quite an amazing twist at the end. But yeah, it's just like you say, it's so well done because they're giving you the clues, but then they're taking those clues away, saying you was wrong, and you really have to look close, and you still don't guess it. Like, there's no way you could guess it at the end.
Yeah, no, the twist that they did with who the killers were, why the killer was doing what they were doing. I kind of don't want to spoil it just in case someone hasn't seen it, but it was released in 1996. So
right, we're gonna say spoilers from this point.
Yeah, spoilers.
This is spoilers. If you hear anything going forward now and you haven't seen it,
pause the episode, go watch Scream, come back to it, press play, listen through. That's the joy of podcasting and YouTube. You can pause this and watch the movie. But yeah, so you find out that Billy and Stewart, Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich are the killers.
Yes.
The reason being that Billy is pissed off at Neve Campbell's character Sydney because her mom ruined his family's life or something around there.
Yes,
like that.
Sydney's mum had an affair with Billy's dad, which caused Billy's mum and dad to separate. So Billy and Stu killed Sydney's mum, but they framed someone else.
What's his name?
Liev Schreiber. I can't think of his name in the movie.
Give me a second.
He very briefly appears in this one, but he's more into.
He's in the second one. Hold on, I'm just going through here.
Cotton Weary.
Jamie Kennedy's in it. I completely forgot he was in it as well. He plays Cotton Weary.
Yes.
Cotton Weary is because apparently Sydney's mom was a quote unquote lady who liked to sleep around.
She was a whore.
She was a whore. Your mother's a whore. But yeah, so like you have that. Which is really different because killing movies, they're never that personal. I found there was never ever this like level, like this is like next level. Like I would love if they would do a remake of this. I would love to see it from Skeet's perspective.
Yeah, from the beginning, like when he first finds out about the affair, and
like how he like a prequel leading up to it. I would love to see the backstory build and how him and Stu came up with the idea to become the Woodsboro killer. Yeah,
because obviously he already had this idea. You know, he's got this vengeance plan, but then he has to get Stu involved as well. Like we find out throughout the movie, Stu's not all there. You know, he's a bit crazy, especially at the end when he just goes
easily influenced as well.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell that he's doing it because he thinks it's fun.
Yeah,
and it's more of a game. Whereas Billy, you know, all throughout you can
personal.
It's eating him inside. And yeah, I'd love to sort of see the thought process. But again, when it comes to prequels, do you want to know everything? But with this, it would be nice to kind of see from beginning to where he kind of starts his relationship with Sydney. It would be fun.
Yeah,
it really would. And like you say, trying to get Stu on board. Oh.
Yeah, I would love to see a beginner. That's if they were planning on reinventing or doing another sequel. I would prefer to see a prequel to this so that I could see how they did it, because that would be just freaking amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, like that twist at the end, like you say, Jamie Kennedy, the supporting cast are incredible. I really identify with Jamie Kennedy's character, just because
surprise, the pulp culture expert here goes with the pulp culture fear man or horror expert himself.
Yeah, he's just such a nerd, and he kind of encapsulates what I was like when I was younger. Just, you know, he's kind of on the outskirts, although he's part of the gang, but he's not quite in there, you know, and he's more into his own thing, and he enjoys movies, and I really identify with that quite a lot. But he's good because he's in a horror movie and he's telling you about horror movie tropes and what to do and what not to do. And 9 times out of 10, he's kind of right, but they're kind of playing with the whole idea of that at the same time whilst you're watching a horror movie. It's so
progressive.
Yeah, it's progressive, but there's another word for it. I can't think of what it is, but it's very tongue in cheek.
Yeah, it's like it's breaking the fourth wall. It's tongue in cheek. It's literally saying, look, here's the trope, and then they go and do the trope at the same time. Like they set up the tropes. He says, make sure you don't have sex in a horror movie because the virgin always wins. And then you have Skeet trying to pressure Sydney throughout the whole movie to have sex.
Yeah.
And they finally do, and she nearly gets killed by Ghostface.
Because I think in this movie, in that universe, Stu and Billy believe that those tropes are real. So if they want to kill Sydney at the end, they have to make her lose her virginity. Otherwise, they can't do it. It's almost stupid, but at the same time, it's genius. What
I also like because they have these tropes that have been going on for so long in the movie, in horror movies from the 70s up until this movie, where pretty much it was that if you had premarital sex, you would die in the movie. Just like we see it in the Jason folding the bed, we see it in Halloween. Halloween countless times. Like the reason why Michael Myers is how he is because there was a sex thing going on and someone died or something like that. I'm not sure. It's
too many different. Yeah.
There's different things, but it was like if you're looking at the Rob Zombie, it's like there was a sex thing going on at the same time. Jason, two teens having sex, he drowned it. Then you have the Clawface Freddy with being a molester and a pedophile. So it all is really on the sex, and here it's going, no, fuck that. It's not necessary anymore. This is a bullshit trope that shouldn't be done anymore. You know, it's like it's a
new age feel.
There's a word. It's putting it on a pedestal, like putting virginity on a pedestal, and this one just comes in and goes Spartan, kicks it down. It's like fuck you. And you have this non-virgin who ends up surviving, taking out the killers. And I love this movie. This movie is classic. It loved me. It's probably not as scary at the same level that it was when I first saw it in 96.
It's a lot of these kind of slasher movies aren't scary. You get the odd jump scare where you're like, oh yeah, that happened, you know. It doesn't really put you on the edge of your seat, but I think because we've become our generation is so acclimatized to it that it takes a lot to scare us nowadays. It has to be paranormal and something that we cannot see or hear and things like that.
You can't fight against.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to a slasher movie, you can fight back. You know, it's going to be difficult, but it's just a guy with a knife. You know, if you're taking this kind of killer as opposed to, you know, Michael Myers, who is almost godlike, or Jason or Freddy, if you steer away from that kind of slasher movie and you watch a movie like this, it's a scary thought that someone's running around with a knife and killing people for you believe no reason, but they do have some kind of weird reason behind it. you can still survive if you want to.
Yeah.
Not want to, but you can survive.
There's a way of surviving.
Yes, exactly. Just don't lose your virginity.
And don't date anyone because they could be a psycho killer.
Yeah.
Aaron, how many butcher knives are you giving this out of 10?
I'm going to go 10 out of 10, mainly because this is a movie that I have watched countless times and I will never get bored of it, because it did for us, like our generation, what Halloween, or what Halloween did in the 70s, or what A Nightmare on Elm Street did in the 80s. This was our kind of time in the 90s, and it took all of those things that we knew about and we enjoyed, but it made it fresh for our generation. They're still trying to do it now, which I don't think they're doing as successfully, with like Happy Death Day and things like that. I've not seen those movies, but I can't imagine I'd enjoy them. Is it?
I enjoyed Happy Death Day. It was an interesting take on a horror movie, but also on Groundhog Day.
Okay, I'm going to check that out, actually.
I think you would enjoy it. It's not like, oh my God, this is mind-breaking, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's very hard nowadays, like, because everything's been done and then done differently, which is what Scream did. I think Scream happened at the right time in the right place, and it took those tropes and used them in a different way, that kind of set a new path that you can't really recreate now. But because I grew up in that era, and this is one of the movies that I adored when I was younger, it's always going to have a place in my heart. The whole series as a whole, kind of the same. I'm looking forward to the new one. Trailer comes out soon, which I will be reacting to.
Speaking of trailer reactions, finish up, and then we'll.
All I was going to say is Scream for me is just an all-time classic, and I will give it 10 out of 10 any day of the week, no matter how many times I watch it.
See, I'm not going to give it 10 on 10 because I don't think there is a perfect movie other than.
No, I'm not. When I say 10 out of 10, I'm not saying it's perfect.
You're for a horror movie. It is as close to perfection as you can enjoy it because it brought so much joy to you.
If I give something a 10 out of 10, I'm not saying that every single element is perfect. I'm just saying, for me, I love it and I think it's great. I don't really like rating movies because.
I agree with you. Hey,
yeah,
we're on the same page. We're on the same page.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, I'll carry rating movies, but you can't. If I say a movie is a 2 out of 10, someone out there will go, well, that's my favorite movie. I say it's an 8 out of 10. That's your opinion. This is mine. No. It's always good for healthy conversation, which I love. So when I say 10 out of 10, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm just saying, for me,
it's perfect enough.
It's great. Yeah.
There we go. I'm gonna go with 8.
You're wrong. No, go on.
I know I am. It's a common occurrence. If you watch The Real Boys, the Friday. Sorry. I'll give the exact date because this is going to be coming out probably in October. Monday, the 4th of October is the episode of The Real Boys, aka Boondock Saints, which is my top 2 movie. It's my second favorite movie all time. It got a little heated, and you can listen to that episode to see how the opinions differ about a movie that is as controversial as Boondock Saints. But I give this movie 8. It's great. It changed the genre. I love what it's done. It has aged particularly well compared to most 90 movies.
Yeah.
It still holds you because it still has those moments that you forget about, and then it just hits you and you're like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Like, I completely forgot about the dog door scene in the garage.
Yes. I can't think of her name, but
the actress gets stuck in the dog, trying to escape, and just brings up the garage door, which I was like, oh my God.
Even the killer, like, you can't see his face, but it's almost like he's like, oh shit, like,
this is way too fucking easy. Click.
Yeah. Right, I'm going back into the party. Yeah, and
you hang out, have fun. Yeah. I think it's Rose McGowan.
That's it. I had Rose in my head, but I didn't know where it came from.
But yeah, this is a great movie. It's a fun time, specifically if you're watching it during the Halloween season, which we're recording right now on the 6th of October. But this is only going to be coming out later because we got so many movies being reviewed, and because I'm behind schedule. But ladies and gentlemen, Aaron, you every Sunday, right? You release a podcast.
Yes. Well, I record it either Saturday or Sunday, and we try to get it up as soon as possible. But yeah, I have my podcast where it is strictly news. I say strictly news. I go through the week's news, maybe 5 or 6 stories. I give you my opinions on them, what's happening in the world of Hollywood. And then at the end of the episode, I'll discuss what I've watched during the week and maybe give you a little review. And yeah, it's I enjoy recording it. I'm hoping to get a lot more guests on at some point. You've been on my podcast, and
Yes,
my wife has been on my podcast. I will be getting more guests on, and yeah, it's great to listen to because I've got such a sexy voice.
It's true. If you love his British accent, make sure you check out Aaron Talks Films. The link's in the show notes down below. He has his YouTube channel, which is Aaron Talks Film, where you do a whole bunch of different things. You do trailer reactions, you do movie quizzes, you do movie reviews.
Yes, I do. I've not done one in a while, but I do a lot of facts videos.
Yes,
about
movie
actors.
facts about actors, movies, and different things like that, which we always love.
Yeah.
And of course, you have YouTube, you have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Aaron Talks Films on each of those platforms, right?
Yeah, across the board. I kept it simple and made sure I didn't have to remember more than one name.
Unfortunately, I was an idiot and I didn't do that. But what can you do when you're the podcast mogul himself, Phil Better? You know, you can check us out. All my shows, links are in the show notes down below. I'm not going to bore you with that because you're here for the Phil Better Show, a show where we review movies from our nostalgic youth. And if you're interested in either being a guest or submitting a movie for us to review, down in the show notes, there is the submit form. Submit a movie, submit an actor, submit a director, submit a genre, if you will. And if you want to shout out about you saying, hey, this is the movie I want you guys to review, boom, down in the show notes. In that link, you can put all your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, and we can get you on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Phil Better. He is Aaron Talks Film. You are watching the Phil Better Show. I want to thank you very much for watching, joining us this week. I haven't set up an outro musical setup yet, so I'm just going to end it going 3, 2, 1.